Today we're going to work on Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. I'm going to be showing you various different levels to it, whether that's a hands-free version where you do not have to go to plank or down dog, but there are ways to adapt that so that your wrists are nice and happy with you. The second step that I'll show you is an easier version of the full mat-based sun salutation. And then the third one is with some harder variations, such as Chaturanga. And if you're not familiar with that, maybe that's something you learn. By the end of this, we're going to take 2 full rounds together. So if you want to pick and choose various parts from each one that you want to attempt to try, it is absolutely your practice. It is always your practice. Most of all, have fun. Try to offer yourself some playing time, okay? So you will only need a mat today. If you don't have a mat, you could use a towel, you could use your hardwood floors or linoleum, you could go in the kitchen, anywhere that you can practice. Now maybe you're stuck at home or you just don't have a lot of time to work with. Remember, you can pause the video, pick and choose what you want to practice. If you know that you really are not going to be practicing on the mat with your hands, then maybe you just continue to practice that hands-free version. Other than that, be kind to yourself. If something doesn't feel right for you, not just because it's new, but if it feels as though maybe you're aggravating an injury or 5 years ago you had surgery and you feel great now, but maybe it's not the best idea, I want you to listen to that voice. That's yoga. Our ego loves to sneak in and tell us like, meh, you'll be fine. Well, I want you to be able to walk out of this, not to get injured. That's the furthest thing from my mind, okay? So having said that, let's get started. Head over to your mat. And you may be wondering, why do I always take off my socks when I am practicing? You have over 72,000 nerve endings in your feet alone, whether you still feel them or not. If you have kids or you were a kid, I'm pretty sure everybody was a kid at some point. You've either stepped on Legos or metal jacks or your kids' toys, whatever. It only takes one thing to be stepped on for you to go, ah, and say some choice words probably. So over time, these get less attention. We are constantly wearing shoes and socks. So free your piggies. Proprioception, your body is constantly taking feedback about your surroundings, whether you're safe or the temperature. So maybe play around with that just in the beginning. Is what does your ground feel like? Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it warm? Is it cool to touch? And if you struggle with feeling, maybe you have some neuropathy issues, be really careful. If you feel like you're gonna trip, take it slow. But this is also a really great way to maybe tap in and get some feeling going on. All right, so have fun. So the first version is gonna be that standing one. Let's meet there. Your hands-free, and when I say hands-free, it means not putting weight down into the hands and supporting yourself that way. It is going to be hands-free in that way. All right, so we're gonna start that hands-free Surya Namaskar A. First view, I'm gonna be standing facing you, but you're gonna come up to the front of your mat. Maybe you turn that to face towards the video, okay? Take a look at your feet. Set them hip distance apart. So I find my hip bones, boom, I slide down. That's about hip distance. Our hips are not as wide as we think. Shoulders slide back. Knees slightly bent. So we don't want to hyperextend or lock the knees. Maybe you can see that if I were to line up my legs, and you're gonna be looking right here. This is me locking my knees. You can see slight bulge out the back. We don't want that. We love our knees. Or maybe you have a love-hate relationship with your knees. We want to keep them working as healthily and as long as we can. So an ever slight bend to the knees. Don't overdo it, okay? So from that stance, front of your mat, feet hip distance apart, that ever so slight bend to the knees. Arms are gonna come down by your sides. Fire up your fingertips. All right, spread those palms. Your hands are now flipped outward. Now, line up your ankles, your hips, your shoulders. Open up your chest. Slight tuck of the chin. Soften your face. Start to work on that 3-part breath that we've been doing. So breathing in through the nose, abdomen to chest, all the way back down. Inhale again up. Exhale down. Continue breathing. All of our movement is going to be linked with breath. Keep that going. So inhale, take the arms out to the side, up to the sky. Stop at whatever point feels good for your shoulders. Maybe those thumbs come together. Look up towards them. Deep breath in as you're reaching. As you're ready to breathe out, retrace that space. Bend at your hips, possibly bending your knees so that you can bring your hands down towards the ground. Don't have to get there. Now I'm going to turn sideways. Inhale, lift yourself up halfway, hands on shins or thighs. Get your torso even with the floor. Think about that lower back being nice and long, not a hunchback. Open up your chest, slide the shoulders down back. Look forward. Take a full breath here. Again, not locking those knees. Settle on an inhale. Exhale. You'll slide back down, folding over those legs, whether that's bent or not, with your knees. Inhale, take the arms up and back as you find your knees bent. Okay, so diagonal line here. Spread the fingertips back. So the arms back, the knees slightly bent, and your heels are still grounded. You're not too far forward. Butt's not sticking out. It's also not caved in. All right, create this lightning bolt with your body. Settle on and inhale. As you exhale, switch the arms. Bring them up and forward. It looks like chair pose, right? It's going to be the equivalent of your downward facing dog. Stay for a full breath in. Exhale, take the arms out and down. You're folding over and lifting up halfway into that flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. Exhale, take them to your heart. Down by your sides as you settle in that mountain pose, Tadasana. All right, you've done one. All right, so just to kind of give you some basis, the only things that have changed with that is that instead of plank, you're going right into up dog, which is going to be that same shape, and to exhaling to down dog. So up dog, down dog. All right, and then that's really the only change. See if your body is okay with that. All right, so that's your hands-free version. Let's go ahead on to the next one. At this point, we have learned hands-free, and we're going to move on to a beginner portion of Surya Namaskar A. So what you'll do is, again, find yourself towards the front of your mat with your feet hip distance apart. And for those of you that still know you're not going to be on your wrists, add those flows in. Maybe you find that, down, up dog to down dog. All right, otherwise, you're at the top of your mat. You find that same mountain pose stance, your arms down by your sides, your knees not locked, that tiny bend. Look forward. Inhale, take the arms up to the sky. Maybe look to the thumbs. Breathe out, fold down. You could bend your knees. Inhale, lift yourself up halfway. That flat back, hands on thighs or shins, look forward. Breathe out, bend your knees enough so those hands can come to the floor, shoulder distance apart here. Then step one foot back, the other foot back, come down to the knees, then slowly lower yourself down towards the floor. Okay, so find the tops of the feet resting on the ground. Those hands slightly just underneath the shoulders. And maybe your nose could gently touch the mat. My feet are hip distance apart, and this is where I'm going to be really weary of my lower spine. All right, so hugging my elbows in, my shoulders are sliding and squeezing back together. I just lift with my upper spine and look forward. This could be the extent of my cobra. Keep breathing. Maybe I feel a little bit better with this, and I could go a bit further. I'm going to press slightly into my hands while lifting and opening the chest. Staying here. And then maybe I could lower as I start to tuck one foot then the other and rise up to all fours. Maybe down onto all fours for a moment. Then I lift my knees up and back, so I'm pressing that ground away. And I don't want to be too far away with this, so I'm going to step it in a bit. What you may find is that you're quite far away and your butt's up in the air. It's somewhere between a plank and a high butt plank, right? So bring your hands, fingers spread, palms pressing into the ground, the ears and the biceps near or in line with each other, and then start to lift your heels, bend your knees, lift your hips up and back. You're thinking as though you're mooning the wall and the ceiling where they meet, and you're still breathing, that equal weight between the hands and the feet, all right? So down dog, keep breathing. If those shoulders are screaming at you right now, perhaps you slightly turn the hands in and you let those elbows come out to the sides. All right, make accommodations for yourself. All right, one last alternative here is I'm gonna drop down to my knees. And maybe I could just find this reaching back. Hands could come forward. If that's still too much on my shoulders, I'm going to take them wider. I may wish to even bring my head to the ground. Your goal is to continue breathing in either one. I'm going to meet you back in that full down dog. Inhale, get your feet to your hands. That could mean a bunch of little steps, or picking the knee up, hugging it in, stepping it forward, or jumping if you're already there. We'll look at that in the next one. All right, lift yourself up on your next breath in. Flat back, breathe out, slide down. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale the arms down to your heart, down by your sides. You've done that beginner, that middle Surya Namaskar A that we were talking about today. All right, so we got hands free, now we have beginners. We're gonna do that one more time together. A little quicker, we're gonna stay in down dog for 5 breaths. So remember, if you're doing the hands free, down dog is going to be your chair pose. All right, so let's go for it, right? Feet set up, arms down by your sides. Breathe in, take it up. Breathe out, dive down. Inhale, lift it up halfway, hands, thighs, shins. Flat back, breathe out, hands down, step those feet back. Perhaps you try to do a full plank. With that, feet are still hip distance apart, shoulders and elbows in. Look forward, lower down slowly. You got there. All right, untuck those toes. And then breathe in, lift the upper back into your cobra. Whatever degree feels good to you, being mindful of the spine. Exhale, tuck those toes. Either come to that all fours or lift your body up to plank. Send the hips up and back. You're now in down dog. Any of those modifications that you found. If you're trying to drive your heels down, don't do it at the sake of your lower spine rounding. You may be noticing that as I try to drive them down. Instead, lift it up high and wide. All right, breathe in, breathe out. Look towards your navel or your belly button. Don't let your head start to drop down to find your belly button. Just move the eyes. Remember to breathe. It's really easy to forget to breathe. You've got this. Find one more breath. And this time we're going to use that full inhale to get all the way up to that half lift. So next breath in, get your feet to your hands and lift it up into that flat back halfway. halfway up. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, hands to sky. Exhale those hands down to your heart, down by your sides. Give it a wiggle, a jiggle, whatever you gotta do. Maybe you get some water. You can massage your wrists if you're somewhere between, them getting a little bit annoyed. It's all good, right? You practice you. And then we're gonna do the third version. So we have hands free, we've got the beginner, and then maybe we go into some harder versions of hovering, and up dog is gonna be involved in that. If you have a bad back, so we talk about steel rods or degeneration, stenosis, all the lovely osises that we could have of the back. Be careful, be mindful, make alternative decisions. You want to feel good. Put the ego in the back, right? Stay present, practice yoga. Maybe you even think about ahimsa, which is that non-violence, and that maybe that's linked to your thought of Gandhi and being peaceful and not hurting people. Practice ahimsa in yourself, okay? So not injuring, not harming yourself, okay? Otherwise, let's go ahead and do that last version. You're going to possibly do hands-free. You could do the beginner. Maybe you try this one and you find, I'm still a beginner, but I can do this. Which, hey, anybody can try anything. Don't discredit yourself, all right? There could be a million poses, and there are, well, there's not a million, but probably. There's tons that you wouldn't label beginner, but sometimes you just have this natural ability to go for it and get it right off the bat. We keep practicing, we keep trying, and it is practice, it is not perfection, all right? If somebody tells you they are perfect at yoga, they're not telling you the truth, okay? So, and they're probably not having fun or playing while they're doing yoga, all right? So, with that version, whichever one you are going to practice today, find yourself at the front of your mat. We're doing that last one, a little bit more challenging. Breathe in, send the arms up to the sky. Breathe out, begin to dive it down. This time, I'm trying to keep my legs straight and fold my torso over my legs. Drop the head. Inhale, lift it up halfway. All right? Maybe that's just bending the knees and keeping those fingertips on the floor. Look forward. Breathe out, the hands down, and then I'm gonna bend my knees and try jumping them back. All right, feet are still hip distance apart. I'm hugging my knees and elbows in. Sorry, I'm out of frame. Hugging my knees and elbows in. All right, now I start to bend my elbows and lower, but instead of touching the ground, I'm going to flow through onto the tops of my feet. This is up dog, shoulders squeezing back, look up, breathe in, roll over the toes as you find down dog. All right, so hips up and back. Maybe you are trying to bring that torso closer to those thighs, really pressing through the shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out. It's not a competition. You're doing this home practice, and even if you're with other people, hey, it's still not a competition. Don't make it one. Open up the chest. Next inhale, maybe I bend my knees and I try jumping to the front as I lift up halfway. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, the hands to heart. Hands to sky. Exhale, the hands to heart. Shake it out. All right, let's go for that last version where we're gonna add a little bit more challenging transitions in. Please listen to your body, okay? So come to the front of your mat and find your Tadasana, that mountain pose, fingers spread, shoulders sliding back, everything nice and aligned, the core pulled in and up, you're still breathing. Inhale, take the arms up. Maybe a back bend here. Breathe out, dive those hands down, fingertips to floor. Inhale, lift it up halfway. Keep your fingertips down. Lift your heart. Straighten those legs if you can. Exhale the hands down. Now bend your knees. See if you can jump back. All right, feet are still hip distance. I'm going to rock forward onto tiptoes. Hug my elbows in, look forward. As I breathe out, I come down as low as I can. Then I float up onto the tops of my feet. My hips are lifted, so I'm not touching. Shoulders back, chest open. You're in up dog. Exhale, fold over those feet into down dog. All right, so settle into yours. If you have that more flexibility, maybe you let your heels come down a little lower. Your knees are not locked again. All right, hips high and wide. Torso, make it closer towards your abdomen. Keep breathing. Fingertips are still spread. Press into the entire pads of every finger. The palm, continue your breath. Let's get back the same way we got there. So bend your knees, try to hop it to the hands, lift up halfway, exhale, fold it down, inhale those hands up to the sky, exhale them to your heart, down by your sides. All right, you've learned all three at this point, and I would love to go through 3 more. Now, if you are working on Chaturanga, I'm going to show that to you a little bit slower. All right, so you could practice that by taking your hands, sliding them back. So you think about your lowest ribs. If you get to feeling, you have your lowest ribs. That's where your hand is going to be. Another way to notice it is if your wrist and your elbow are in alignment with each other. All right, so tuck the toes under, feet hip distance. Start to lift yourself up to plank. Then lower halfway. All right, that's Chaturanga. Lower yourself down. Not always easy, right? So, another way you might practice that is if you were to find a belt, and just for the sake of showing you and playing, you can take one of the cloth belts or a towel and a hairband or a rubber band, and I think about bringing them so that it's just across my chest. And how do I know if that's wide enough? Can I reach opposite elbows without it getting too loose? If that's the case, shorten that distance a little bit. I take them just under. And again, you might be thinking, lady, I don't have this stuff at home. It's okay, I'm just showing you, all right? So then I find that position again. I start to work my way forward. You may need to lower this a little bit, depending on how much chest you've got in the way. Lower yourself down. It may also give you some support, all right? So breathe in, breathe out. Then you would go right into up dog. Exhale to down dog. Strap's probably gonna get in the way of your face. All right? So play around, have fun. With the jumping, it is okay if you fall, all right? We're never gonna learn if we don't try. So bending the knees and trying to step, you might come a little short. Eventually you'll get so graceful that there won't be a whole thud sound that comes with it, all right? Think about playing. Alrighty, let's do 2 rounds together. Check out how you're feeling. If you need to get water. Maybe give your wrist a little bit of love. So whichever version you're gonna do, that up dog to down dog, cobra versus up dog, being mindful of your spine. Yeah, absolutely, have fun. Okay, towards the front of your mat. Let's all go together. Breathe in, take it up. We're gonna hold down dog 3 breaths. Breathe out, dive it down. Look towards the toes. Inhale, lift up to that half lift, flat back. Look forward, breathe out, slide down, hands down and feet back. Lower down, any way you would like. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift it up and back. Down dog, we stay here, full breath in. Settle in. If you're too far away, step it in. If you're too close, you're gonna get super jammed up here. So, not too wide, not too narrow. See what feels best, all right? You're finishing up that second, inhaling into the third, exhaling, inhale, get your feet to your hands, lift it up halfway, exhale, fold down, inhale, hands to heart. I'm sorry, hands to sky. I'm all about that. Hands to heart as you breathe out, down by your sides. Inhale, take it up again. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, lift it up halfway. Exhale, hands down, feet back. Come forward, lower it down. Elbows in as you come to cobra on an inhale. Exhale to down dog, whether that's the knees down version or the hips up or the standing one. Stay for 2 more breaths. Full breath. Don't shortchange yourself. After the third exhale, inhale, feet to hands. Lift it up halfway. Exhale, fold it back down. Finish strong, breathe in, hands to sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Down by sides. Shake it out, pat yourself on the back. Play around, maybe you keep going with that. I would suggest seeing if you can incrementally work your way up to maybe 2 of those, 3 of those, 5 of those. When we get to Surya Namaskar B or Sun Salutation B, what I have always practiced is however many A's you practice, which is this, you do 2 less B's. So if I practice 5 A's, I do 3 B's, okay? Maybe do 1 B after you see how they look. All right, so that's Surya Namaskar A. Thank you for joining me. Have fun, have play, and ask questions if you have them. I'm super open to answering those. All right, enjoy your day.